that caused them to do all those things will come back into their bodies. So basically, you can call it reanimation. So in the world of hell's hierarchy, they want these individuals walking back on the earth. And then, what's fascinating, I was told by a general, and again, I could not know this, that the fight was to get Gilgamesh, Gilgames' DNA from the sarcophagus that was in Iraq. And prior to the invasion, he basically told me this. He said, Steve, most of the special operations beyond the dealing with foreign governments and the introduction of advanced teams is trying to locate all of the hidden and the alien, when I say alien, hidden or alien DNA or the entities themselves to extract both the DNA and also the technology. Now, again, most people would be flabbergasted to know this, but at one of NASA's...
Steve, I have to tell you, Steve, they already did that, Steve. And, Steve, they did that a long time ago, man. And where do you think we came from, Steve? Where do you think our hybrids been coming from, Steve? They already did that. Was that Operation Climax? Yeah, Operation Climax. Whenever they already had that DNA from these angelic beings, whatever they are, and injected it into these military soldiers, right? These military men, and then had them go impregnate women in low-income housing areas. Project Climax. And I guess now they're looking for all the DNA of all the most evil men throughout history, and all the most big conquerors and bad men and nuts. Well, that's just great. They have DNA banks of all these people, like Hitler. Did y'all see that article where they said they're going to try to reconstitute Hitler? Like, whoa, man, that's wild. They got like Genghis Khan and just like all these great conquerors, all these men, and they have all these DNA banks of all these people. And it's like, and yeah, they're looking for this alien DNA, this Gilgamesh. They went to Iraq and took the body of Gilgamesh, and no telling what they're doing with his DNA. Like, but look, that's already been done. Where do you think we came from? Where do you think the fucking little hybrid selves came from, man? They've been doing that shit. In the '60s, they took DNA from these angelic beings, or whatever they are, right? The aliens, angels, who knows, right? Whatever you want to call them. Injected it into their, men, their military men, sent them into low income housing areas and impregnated their women. It's almost like when the sons of God went into the daughters of man all over again. You assholes. You did it all over again, fucktards. Anyway. Let me tell you, Steve.
Space Administration, NASA, National Aeronautic and Space Administration. The deal is that they have the Hindu scientists, and by the way, the Indian scientists are some of the brightest men in the world, and they were presenting Sanskrit texts on Vimanas. So here you have the leading astrophysicists. You have the leading, if you will, designers of both known and unknown spacecraft, and you've got the Hindus presenting the propulsion systems, the design parameters, the control mechanisms of Vimanas, and they were...
It's harmonics. It's harmonics. We use sound to manipulate gravity.
They made it kind of, how would you say, they mocked them but these guys are going back 4,000 and 6,000 years. So how could anybody get that kind
rebuilding
of, if you will, blueprints
for
those unless they existed? So I thought that was kind of fascinating.
The blueprints for them, and they're rebuilding them, the propulsion system.
Our new DVD, True Legends, the series, The Unholy Sea, starts in Peru, which is called the Navel of the World. And Francis Bacon, which a lot of people believe was actually the man who wrote all of Shakespeare's works, but going beyond that point, talked about all of the advanced electronic and scientific devices that would be in the future in the last years of his life. Some people say it was 1626, 1627. But what's fascinating, George, and this is what people have got to understand, is he was talking about everything from deep underground facilities, skyscrapers a mile high, wind and water turbines, everything from electrical devices, genetic labs, lasers, powerful telescopes, everything that we're dealing with right now, from flying machines, submarines, and holographic projections, he was in possession of. And the question in his book, New Atlantis, how did he get those? Well, as you know, we started our world, if you will, tour of antiquity and ancient inventions and the giants in Peru. It's fascinating because Peru is if you will, one of the areas in the world where all the legends of giants, the giant bones, and advanced technology meet together. I got an email from a gentleman who said his great-grandfather escorted Hitler into Peru. We know he obviously went to Brazil, Argentina, but what's the specialty about Peru? And it's fascinating because the Unholy Sea, we're documenting the alien connection, and what's fascinating even now is that we had the C-130 pilot on who first appeared on your show back in 2007, I think, and we've got him on film talking about the giants, and I know Lynn Marzulli has also gotten corroborating evidence on that. But where we're at right now is we're dealing with soft disclosure, and the Vatican's attempt right now to control the narrative. When Tim Alberino, the director of The Unholy Sea, was in Rome, he had the chance to meet with Zacharias Sitchin, one of his billionaire friends, one of the most famous Italian billionaires. And Tim and our camera crew got him on record as saying that even Zacharias Sitchin talked about the time an Anunnaki showed up on his bed. Anunnaki in his world, fallen angel in mine. So when we were interviewing all the different people in Rome and interviewing them in Sardinia and Malta, I would say this, the most mind-blowing thing that is present is the fact that the Lucifer telescope on Mount Graham was referred to literally by these insiders as looking for the return of Lucifer, kind of like Childhood's End, which Netflix played. And this is unfolding right now as you and I are talking.
And back to Bacon too, Stephen, for a second. I mean, what gave him this prophetic ability?
Well, may I just read this real quick paragraph?
Sure.
Something. And this we do also. This is Francis Bacon talking. We have consultation, which of the inventions and experiences which we have discovered shall be published, and which not, and take all an oath of secrecy for the concealing of those which we think fit to keep secret, though some of those we do reveal, sometimes to Satan, some not. It was similar to what Dr. Von Braun and Dr. Obertroff said about how the Nazis were so able to advance quickly, and they said they had help from outsiders. They had help from aliens. So what's fascinating is Bacon started out in Peru, and Peru is one of the depositories, and it has one of the largest underground tunnel systems in the world called the Shinkana. Those underground tunnels went worldwide. So in the time of his writing, and obviously he was talking about the New Atlantis, which he never finished. It was all of the technological and scientific marvels of Atlantis that evidently some of the Atlanteans went to Peru, and obviously we're seeing now the opening up of so much advanced technology as the stargates open. So the stargates in Peru, the presence of stargates all over the world, the spiral, for instance, the Norway spiral, we're in the desert Southwest interviewing Native Americans. They're all talking about the same thing, George, and it's that the giants are coming back. It's fascinating. You wouldn't expect that to be coming out of the Native Americans. Francis Bacon was part of a secret society, and whether you call it the Egyptian Brotherhood, a lot of the Masonic and the secret societies are based on advanced knowledge, which they take oaths of secrecy to. The same thing that Hitler's SS, and the SS means the dark sun, not what most people believe it to mean. So the Brotherhood of the occult, the word occult meaning hidden, it goes deep into the Peruvian underground. And what is most important is that one of the most famous Peruvian archaeologists, explorers, absolutely established the Chincana, which the tunnel system, and in Cusco, Peru, the Coricancha, which is a giant church, kind of like convent, was built over the entrance to this tunnel system that the Incans and all of the people of that region knew existed. These were built by giants. By the way, these weren't built, and this is something that I want to get out right now. In all of our studies of both the Aztec, the Maya, and the Inca, none of them claimed they built what they possess. None of them.
How do you find these stories?
Well, interestingly enough, a lot of them come off of response from people that listen to Coast and other radio programs that I'm on, and we're literally getting flooded right now with people from Eastern Europe, people from even China, Siberia, saying, you've got to come here. We have evidence of giants, and we follow up the leads. And one of the things that's amazing, George, is there's a word I've got to share with people. It's called the Septuagint, and that's the Hebrew Bible translated into Greek. Now, listen to this, okay?
It's pretty much the same thing as the Catholic Bible, the Septuagint. It is a fun fact.
This is Isaiah 13. Lift up a standard on the mountains of the plain, exalt the voice of them, beckon with the hand, open the gates, ye rulers. I give command and I bring them. Giants are coming to fulfill my wrath, rejoicing at the same time.
Giants are coming to fulfill my wrath, God said. Giants are coming to fulfill my wrath, God said. And that's what's happening.
And insulting.
Again.
You know, we've talked a lot about stargates. It's becoming more prevalent and prominent. For instance, a good example is about maybe a month ago,
they think they're going to get out of
here NASA announced that there was Martian Morse code. Did you see that story?
Yes, it did.
Well, what's truly intriguing about that is when Tim and my film crew were down in Peru and Bolivia in the Altiplano, and the late David Flynn, who wrote Cydonia, The Secret Chronicle of Mars, put forth the fact that there is an actual language engraved into the landscape. And I've talked to scientists in the last couple months trying to get the deciphering going. Now, it's my contention that obviously NASA and the supercomputers have already deciphered the language of the fallen angels. And isn't it interesting that even the Incan priests had a way of tying knots called quipu and could tell the whole history of the fallen angels, the giants, and everything. So what I'm saying is, as I talk and we research this all over the world, people are talking about strange anomalies, strange phenomenon, stargates opening, everything from flying saucers, orbs, and things have changed, unintended, in the atmosphere. It's battle in outer space, battle on inner space, battle under the ground, and now things coming up on the ground. And you know, when you ask me how we follow these leads, we're basically going out of the book of Genesis, chapter 6, talking about the giants in those days before the flood and after those days. And people just don't get it. I mean, I cannot find, after 40 years, any place in the world that does not have its legends of giants and of, the fallen angels having sex with earth women, and it's all over. Now look at the genetic manipulation going on, and it's fascinating because this is the very same stuff that Francis Bacon talked about in 1626.
And the mixture, Stephen, of animal and human to me is absolutely bizarre, and it's going to get worse, isn't it?
It is going to get worse. When I wrote the book Genetic Armageddon, it was so hard, George, for people to wrap their mind around the fact that the day would come when animal and human genetic material would be combined to literally bring back the mythological creatures that have so filled the pages of history. And that's why I use the title True Legends. Xenogenesis means a third set of DNA, interesting, three-parent children, that's added into the mixture. And so what we're talking about in the New Atlantis isn't really the New Atlantis, it's the old Atlantis. And the very fact that this ancient technology, and including Stargates, now most people can't even grasp that. They think it was just a series on TV and a great movie, which in my opinion was a great movie. But what's more important right now is all of the geophysical activity going on Earth. Obviously, we've got the volcanoes going off. Now, what is the number one drudge headline dealing with what the billionaires want? The billionaires basically want eternal life. They want life extension. They want to go to the stars.
And bunkers.
And bunkers.
And bunkers. And bunkers. All right, I gotta go get my food. I'll catch y'all later. Bye. See y'all in a little while. Yeah, I gotta go for a walk. Go give me some.